Good morning, everybody. Thanks for joining me today. I'm Rita Hickman. I'm a body mind expert and a shiatsu massage therapist. And what that means is that I understand how the body mind works really, really well and how our thoughts affect our physical beingness, whether it be heart issues or stomach issues or nervous system issues, and how our body also affects our mental and emotional state. So I understand, hey, Kathy. So I understand the link and the connection between our body and our mind and how they work together and communicate. I generally use Asian medicine as my foundation of where a lot of my information comes from, but I also draw from indigenous medicines from all over the world, North and South, Native American, Celtic, Druidish, um, Asian medicine, all of those things I pull from, as well as things from the U.S., Feldenkrais and hypnotherapy and plant-based medicines, things like that. So I pull a wide variety of things in to help people. Okay, great, Kim. I'm glad you'll be watching this later. I'm glad it fits in right now. Um, so I really use those tools to help women navigate what's going on. So lately, I've had a few people in my life addressing panic attacks. They've been coming to me with panic attacks and how to manage them. So today we're going to do, hey Lisa, today we're going to do a quickie overview, but I'm thinking this is something we should, hey Danny, we should dive into a little bit deeper next week. How to really deal with panic attacks. So the overview for today is when you start, let's explain what a panic attack is. It's when you get an overwhelming sense that either puts you into fight, flight, freeze, or faint. Something that puts you into overwhelm, where you basically cannot move forward because physically you feel as if your body won't let you. The internal experience that you're having is paralyzing you, and it can come out in the form of increased heartbeat or a pulsing that you feel or heat or dizziness, all sorts of things where you feel off and really not able to function. So let's address the fact that panic attacks are not only or just a mental issue or an emotional issue. In fact, panic attacks are kind of like a perfect storm. It's when your thoughts, your emotions, and your body are kind of in alignment towards something negative, something strong going on. If it was just something physical, you're not feeling well, you deal with that. You'd be like, oh, look at that. I'm having, heart afibrillation, and how do I want to deal with it? It doesn't turn into a panic attack. Or let's say you have an emotional release. Where you're crying or shaking or anxious from adrenaline or hormones. That's not necessarily a panic attack because you might not have be having such a strong physical reaction what's going on. Or mental, hey Joy, good to see you. Or mental, if you have constant negative thinking or you just can't get yourself out of those bad thoughts, that's not a panic attack. It's when they all sort of line up together when because your thoughts, your feelings, how your body feels and your emotions, they can magnify each other quite a bit. And so the beautiful thing that I've always loved about Asian medicine is they believe, and they've got thousands of years behind them, that you can address mental issues through the body or the emotions. You can address emotions through the mental or the body, and you can address body issues through the mind and the emotions. So when you're having a panic attack, what you mainly need to do is to break one of the cycles. So they stop compounding each other. So on a physical level, hey Geneva, on a physical level, perhaps you've got all of these physical symptoms going on of your panic attack. So you need to look at the things which physically will calm you down. For me, that tends to be calming herbal teas. They've got a lot of that stuff out there. It's exercise and walking, so I'll immediately start to do that. It's water. And typically it'll be lemon water or cucumber water because that'll help detox. So you want to do something on a physical level that will change your physical state. I may do a temperature change, like take a bath or go outside in the cold or the hot. I may take my shoes off and walk on stones or walk on textures, to get that different sensation in my feet, to break that physical sensation cycle. I will do things to break the sensation. If you want to work with the mental level when, I'm having or have had panic attacks, then you really want to change your thinking and the pattern your brain is in. And the ways that I've done that, and I counsel other people, are things like meta music. Meta music is music that entrains your brain waves because of the patterning of the music, because of the what's going on underneath the music. It entrains your brain waves to a calmer state of mind. The sound of rain will do the same thing. Watching a fire will do the same thing. So doing something to repattern your brain and your thoughts. And that's where reading different information or mantraing or focusing on one positive word, that joy or peace or love, in order to get your thinking from compounding how you feel. So I would do something and have done something that changes the brainwave state that I'm in, so I can work on it from a mental piece. Maybe I'll look at a candle. Shamanic drumming works great. So if you have the physical of, if you have a hand drum, if you've got a drum, if you've got something like that, the physicality of playing it plus the rhythm of the beat keeps you in place. If I'm having a panic attack while I'm speaking publicly, I will typically deal with my felt sense. Hey, Elaine. Which means that, let's say I'm on a stage in front of people, I will do something physical that gives me a different physical sensation. So if it's common that I have them, while I'm on stage, I will prepare myself with fabrics or maybe a cold pack or a hot pack, that I can put my hands on and take my hands off of to give me a different physical sensation. Maybe I'll have that in my pocket. I'll keep stones or I'll keep prickly things maybe in my pocket to give me a different felt sense. I may wear different things in my shoes that give me a different felt sense on my feet, maybe the type of socks that I wear or the shoes that I wear. Anything that will give me a different felt sense, which other people will not be aware of. Or I'll put my hand on my belly, or I'll, put my hand on my heart if it's unobtrusive, because that gives me a different felt sense. So if you're in the middle of a crowd and you need it to not be obvious, I would go for the physical sensation of changing what I'm actually feeling. I would maybe also, when I've been in public having these attacks, I focus on, I kind of have two different things going on in my mind. One thing in my mind is what I need to do and what I need to say, but the other part of my mind puts me in a whole different world. So I look at my environment differently. They used to say when you do public speaking, to imagine the crowd in their underwear. That's that same sort of mental trick. It's where you distract yourself and you perceive the situation differently. For me, I used to do a lot of community theater. And it was, for me, I wasn't, I put myself in a different state of mind. Like, oh, I'm just pretending. This doesn't really matter. Or I'd pick somebody out of the crowd and I'd say, look how much they're enjoying this. And I'd make eye contact with them and I'd focus on as if I was speaking to them. Or I would look into the lights, on the stage, and I would be looking at the lights and it would look like I was looking at the audience or the crowd. But in reality, I was just talking to myself. So when I would pretend and do the theater, I would do something that I could focus on and pretend like I'm just talking to myself in front of a mirror. So things to distract myself while I'm in the middle of a crowd when I need to stay calm and level. The last thing I would do, not with public speaking, but in general, if you're having a panic attack, is I would focus on the emotional piece. And that means I would put things around me or do things which give me a sense of joy or beauty or peace, especially the heavy hitters. You know, let's say if you had a close relationship with your mom, or a close relationship with your dad, or you're totally in love with your kids, or the birth of your children, or the beauty of nature. I would keep things around that would change my emotional sense, would tap into a different emotion. Because the body overall feels pleasure and senses pleasure quicker than it feels pain. So if you distract yourself with things that feel good mentally, emotionally, or physically, then that will travel to the brain faster and you'll be able to cope with your panic attack. Overall, the best way to handle panic attacks is preventative medicine. It means that you're working on the thoughts, feelings, and beliefs that get in the way of that can combine together to create a panic attack in the first place. Hey, Janet. So you want to start working on your physical well-being, getting those foundational pieces in place, and your mental well-being, focusing on those mantras, on more positive neural connections, on reading positive things, and surrounding yourself, putting in your environment beauty and positive thoughts so that it rewires your brain to more uplifting and fewer dark thoughts. And on an emotional level, I would let myself experience my emotions more often without suppressing them. Hey, Sherry, great to see you. So I don't necessarily feel it's necessary to always express my emotions to other people. Doesn't mean I suppress them. It just means that I give myself time and permission and compassion to feel my emotions, whatever they may be, without judgmentalism, whether it be anger or fear or anxiety or whatever. If I give myself those opportunities on a regular basis to feel those things, then it keeps all of my emotions in check. And so it won't push me over the tipping point of a panic attack. So if you're in the middle of one, you want to work on the body, the mind, and the emotions. If you want to avoid one, then you want to work on preventative for keeping your body, mind, and emotions healthy. So next week, I think we'll go through panic attacks and dealing with them in different situations. I think that would be a great topic for people because I know this is becoming a problem, mainly because we're all getting into overwhelm, and it's in that overwhelm that we hit the tipping point and that we then struggle with those panic attacks on a regular basis. So if you're watching this, wherever you're watching it, email, YouTube, or Facebook, please leave a comment, send some love, be a part of the tribe, communicate with each other, and support each other, because this is a really safe, loving place. And the only way we're going to get through all of this stuff is to be safe, loving people for each other, to be a community that's pulling together for each other's best interests, okay? Because there's a lot of wisdom out there. So I hope you have a great rest of your day. I will see you tomorrow, which will be Friday, the last one of the week. And if you've got any suggestions for what you'd like me to cover, let me know, and I'll make sure that I do. Okay, have a great day. Bye.